Here we go, chapter 12. So the first question told me to write the first 5 terms of the sequence. So I took the formula that it gave me, I plugged in 1 for n, and I got an answer. Then I plug in 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So I just plug in the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and write down what I get. Write the first 5 terms of the recursive sequence. Okay, this tells me the first term is 4. And for every term after that, I do 2 times what came before. That's what recursive means. So this n minus 1 is the one that came before. So start with 4 because it told me to. Then double it. So this times 2, this times 2, and so on until I get my list there. All right, then I had some stuff about sequences and series. Tell what kind it is. This is geometric because it's multiplied by the same thing every time. Then here, the thing it's multiplied by every time is 3, so that's its common ratio. Here is the sum of the first 8 terms, and here's the 8th term, and both of those just came from the formulas that are on your formula sheet. But your other option, when it only asks for something like 8, which isn't very far, is just to keep multiplying by 3 and just do it until you get to the 8th term. Same here, this one was arithmetic because I add the same number every time. It's plus 3 every time. So it's arithmetic because of the addition. The common difference is 3. That's the number I add each time. The sum of the first 8 terms is 100 and the 8th term is 23. Again, the formulas are given to you on your formula sheet and you just plug in the first term and the common difference. But you can also just work it out to the 8th one. Just keep adding 3 until you find the 8th one. Here we go, evaluate. Remember that this letter here that looks like an E is actually a summation symbol, a sigma. So what we do here is we plug in the 1 and get an answer, plug in 2 and get an answer, 3, 4, and then I stop and I add all the answers up. 1 is what I start with because that's what it told me to start with, and I went to 4 because that's what it told me to stop. The sigma tells me to add. So the 1 squared is 1 plus 2 makes 3. 2 squared plus 2 gives me the 6, and so on. Add them all up and you're done. The sum of the infinite series comes from this formula, which again will be given to you on your formula sheet, but there's the formula. So the first term goes here, and then 1 minus the common ratio. The common ratio, remember, is the thing I multiplied by each time. So 6 times 1/2 gives me the 3. 3 times 1/2 gives me the 1/2. And so on. Then I expanded using the binomial theorem. So here I do 5 comes from this little to the 5th. Choose 0 and I count up. 5 choose 0, 5 choose 1, 5 choose 2, 5 choose 3, and so on all the way up to 5 choose 5, which remember is the combination button on your calculator, 5C0. This number comes from here, it's the constant. So it's 3 to the 0, it's going to be the same number that's on the bottom, and it counts up each time. So it goes 0, 1, 2, and so on. And then this x to the 5th is because that's the variable, and we start with the same number that's in the top, and we count down every time. It's actually going to be 5 minus 0 is 5, 5 minus 1 is 4, 5 minus 2 is 3, but it counts down all the way through. So there it is, expanded. Find the coefficient of the x to the 5th term. That means I don't have to do the whole expansion, just the x to the 5th part. And I kind of work backwards. I write the x to the 5th first, and then I know that because this was to the 7th, that those two exponents have to add up to 7. So if this was x to the 5th, then it needs to be 3 to the 2nd. And remember that choosing part comes from 7, comes from that exponent, and then the 2 is going to be minus 5. So 7 minus the 5 gives me the 2. And I end up with 189 x to the 5th. I worked it out here in case you've forgotten how to do a combination. It's 7 factorial over 5 factorial times 2 factorial, but you can also put it into a calculator. All right, the general formula for this arithmetic sequence. This is not on your exam, so I'm going to go through it kind of quickly. But the first thing I did is basically find a slope from the 2 terms they gave me. The 8th term is 17 and the 13th term is 29. So I basically found a slope, and that's my common difference. Then I put my common difference into this formula along with one of the terms I know. This is almost exactly like doing the equation of a line when you're given a point. So I put in one of the points I knew, and then my common difference I knew. So the 13th term was 29, so n minus 1 is 12, 29. Solve for the a, and then I put it all back in. So my common difference is here. The first term that I found is here, and I just plug it into that formula. Super quick, but you don't have to be able to do it on your exam. If the pattern continues, again, this is not on the exam, but quickly, if this pattern continues, I just follow this same formula that's written here for an arithmetic series, and I put 3, that's the first term, plus n minus 1, so n minus 1 times the common difference, which is 4, because this goes up by 4 each time. Last page, I didn't put a picture on there for some reason, so I added one just for purposes of going over this. So the probability of rolling a 3 and then drawing a gray. Well, I put 2 grays, 3 blacks, and 4 whites. So the probability of rolling a 3 is 1 out of 6, because there's 1 3 out of 6 faces, times, because and then means times, 2 out of 9, because that's my chances of drawing a gray, 2 of the 9. And then I multiplied it out and got 2 over 54 and simplified it. The probability of drawing gray or black, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these are gray or black, so it's 5/9. Probability of drawing 3 rights in a row with replacement, which means I put it back every time. Well, the chances the first time are 4 out of 9, and because I put the marble back, it's 4 out of 9 again, and 4 out of 9 one more time, and I just wrote that answer as 4 to the third over 9 to the third instead of multiplying it all out. The probability you won't draw a black is how many are not black. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are not black out of 9 total. The probability you won't draw white or black, well, that would be 2 of them are not white or black. So your probability is 2 out of 9.